So today we are talking about the Montreal Canadiens, who I wouldn't necessarily say they are the most exciting team in 24-25, but they might be the most exciting team with the most exciting future amongst any team in the NHL. You can obviously make that argument with other teams, but regardless, I think they are definitely up there on that list. They made a lot of good moves in the offseason. They've been drafting very well. It's all just a matter of, well, when these prospects get over here, can they pan out into the NHL? Because they have a lot of young players who do look like they could be very exciting when they come over. So, first off, we'll start off with the fact that they finished 5th worst in 23-24. Again, that was expected. I don't think anyone's really surprised about that. They weren't going to be contending or anything like that. It was another year of just rebuilding, developing the team. But honestly, in the last couple of drafts, and especially in this draft as well, they have made some very good moves and bringing in some solid players, that being Ivan Demidov and Michael Hayes. Now, Demidov might be over this coming season. I doubt it, but he will be over in 25-26 for sure. And Michael Hayes is a little too early to tell because the guy played in the United States Hockey League. Usually guys from the USHL like to go and play for college or somewhere else before they come to the NHL. So Hayes might be a few years out before he gets over. But regardless, those two guys, along with a few other guys they've drafted in previous years, guys who have already played in the NHL, they do look very exciting. They look like a very exciting young team. And even with another first-round pick next year, 2 at that with Calgary's, it could be a very exciting team in 25-26. But regardless, let's get into what moves they made this past offseason. There weren't a lot, and they really didn't need to do a lot. I'm not saying they needed to come on here and go out and sign a top 4 defenseman or like a second-line center. No, they didn't really need to do any of that. They needed to re-sign some of their guys, and they did that. They signed Juraj Slavkovsky to an 8-year, $7.6 million contract. That deal could look like a steal a few years down the road. Slavkovsky, I thought, had a really good year this past year. I think that he definitely proved a lot of the haters from that draft wrong. 100%. Now, Justin Barron was also signed too by the Canadiens, a 2-year, $1.15 million deal. He's looked at as a guy that's going to be here through the rest of this rebuild and is going to be a guy that probably they will flip for assets or possibly maybe just let him go in free agency. He looks like a guy that just kind of fill up a deep pairing slot. I could be wrong, obviously. Actually, in fact, when you look in terms of the defense core that I'm going to say, he doesn't even crack the top 6, so something to keep in mind there. Arvar Xhekaj signed a 2-year, $1.3 million deal. I thought that was a little bit of an overpay because the guy was in the AHL for the majority of the season, but I guess they plan on keeping Xhekaj as a full-time, probably third-pairing defenseman, which isn't a terrible thing. They re-signed Caden Gooley to a 6-year, $5.5 million deal as well. I think that's a good contract. I saw people saying it was an overpay. Sure, but I think he will grow into that contract. I think that Goulet will become a really solid top 4 defender, and I think that he could be very exciting. And the only guy they brought in, that's new is Alex Bear-Boulette to a 1-year, $775K deal, who probably will get a lot of NHL time this coming year, and is also a young guy who really couldn't pan out anywhere else he's been. So I think it's honestly a pretty good signing by the Canadiens there too. So honestly, they didn't do a lot, but they did have a really good offseason in that sense. Now, let's look at their lineup heading into 24-25. It's not terrific, but there actually is some fun pieces in here. So we'll start with our top 6. You got Juraj Slavkovsky, Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield, Brendan Gallagher, Alex Newhook, and Kirby Dach. Now, again, these lines are from the Daily Faceoff. They are not from me, so please do not come at me for these lines. I didn't make these at all. I wouldn't even really know where to start. But regardless, I think that a full year of Kirby Dach, a full year of Alex Newhook will do huge benefits to the Canadiens for sure. I think Dach played 1 or 2 games at the NHL level and then got hurt for the season. So having a young guy like him who looked exciting in the year before in your lineup for a full year could be something that is beneficial to the Canadiens overall. Obviously, again, as I said, Slavkovsky, if he can have a season like he did last year or anything like that, it's a terrific season. Suzuki had a great year. I think this is his first year that he scored 30 goals. So congratulations to him. But Cole Caulfield, a big year coming from Caulfield. His career high is 28 goals. We've expected a lot more at the NHL level. I think the talent is there. It's just a matter of can he crack that 30-goal mark that Habs fans have been hyping him up to be doing the last couple of seasons. So hopefully Caulfield can do that. Their bottom six is you have Bear Boulette, Christian Dvorak, Josh Anderson, Michael Pezzetta, Jake Evans, and Joel Armia. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these guys get flipped at the trade deadline or flipped at some point in the offseason, because I think that they've been trying to flip Dvorak. They've been trying to flip Josh Anderson. I think those guys are probably there to stay through the remainder of their contracts for sure. But regardless, I do believe that some guys in that bottom six will be flipped. It's really not that great, to be honest with you. It's not that great of a bottom six. A lot of just guys that are kind of just like exiles from old teams. And obviously Anderson's part of that old regime. And he will probably spend the rest of his career in Montreal, barring they don't find someone to take on that contract. Defensively, the blue line looks actually not terrible. You got Mike Matheson and Caden Gooley as your first pairing. You have Lane Hudson and I almost said Dennis Savard. David Savard. Wouldn't it be something? David Savard as their second pairing, and then Jordan Harris and Arver Shakai as the third pairing. Now, I've seen some rumors that people may think that Jordan Harris won't be with the team next year. I think with signing Barron, there's a good chance that Harris gets that Harris gets moved and Barron gets put into the lineup. And I think that that's a pretty good move. Lane Hudson, a first full year of him. I think Hudson has a lot of potential. Could be a great top four defenseman, maybe even a first pairing guy. Matheson, it wouldn't surprise me if they trade him this coming season and try and flip him for other assets. It would not surprise me, especially if he has a year even remotely close to what last year was. Yeah, he would get flipped for maybe even like a first or a second round pick. Not saying that would happen, but regardless, I think that honestly they probably will flip Matheson at some point. And then your goaltending tandem is Sam Montembeault and Caden Primo. I think that's fine. I mean, Montembeault was a good goalie last year. Primo's got an interesting season ahead of him. He's kind of been the backup the last couple of years. Chances are they could move on from him soon. But regardless, it's not a terrible team. But is it a team that's going to make the playoffs? No. They probably will finish in the bottom 10 in the NHL again. I think they will probably be better than 5th, barring a lot of these guys look exciting. But regardless, unless Demidov comes over this coming year, which it isn't looking like it's going to happen right now, I believe they probably will finish last in the division unless some team above them really just crashes out and Montreal then finishes above them, obviously. But regardless, I'm not saying that to demote the team in any way. I think this team is going to have a very exciting future, but I do think they have maybe 1 to 2, maybe even 3 more years of kind of being at the bottom or close to the bottom in the Eastern Conference before they finally start making that push. Again, we really don't know, to be honest with you. A lot can change in 1 to 2 seasons. Obviously, if Demidov comes over this coming year, I will make the argument that they could really improve. But regardless, one player really can't do that to a team. But regardless, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe down below. I really appreciate it. I know me and Habs fans have had our differences because of the Demidov-Michkov debate, but regardless, I still love your team. I still love what you guys are building, and I can't really deny that whatsoever. Regardless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.